Beautiful people, how are we? Today, we're going to talk about taking action despite fear. I want to thank you so much for the emails and the questions you all have been sending in. It's been super, super helpful to see how I can potentially help. My goal during this downtime is to help as many people get through the transition and get through the roadblocks as much as possible. So giving me that information and giving me your questions is super, super important. And I thank you. So we have a question from Rachel. I hope Rachel has the opportunity to see this live. I hope she can come in live. If not, she can review the recording. So her question is what initiated today's live. And if you want to be on my list and you want to submit your questions, just go ahead and download the Digital Nomad Toolkit in the description box of this video. You'll get an email from me. If you don't get that email, check your spam folder. But you'll get an email from me. Just reply back to that email and let me know where you're stuck. And that way, during this time in which I'm going live, I will try my best to give you the insight that I've gotten over the past, 20 some odd years to hopefully help you get unstuck. And then you can go forth and prosper. So let's get into that. So for those of you, if you're just joining, if you have any specific questions, just go ahead and put them in the comment box. If you can put the letter Q beside it so that I can know it's a question versus you conversing with folks in the chat. So Rachel's question was, how do you get over your fear of failure, and how do you take action when perfectionism has you stuck? So when I asked the question of where are you stuck, Rachel said perfectionism is her issue. And we're going to talk about that. Here's the thing. In this current way that we're operating, it is real easy to not take care of yourself. There are a lot of things that are, hey there, Sandra. There are a lot of things that's going to be competing for your time and for your energy. And there's a whole host of things outside of your job or your commitments to family that can cause you to forget or not pay attention to the life you want to live going forward. Okay, so particularly, if you're in the US grind, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you go to work, you do what you got to do, you try to, get the time to do all the other things you're supposed to do, and then you got to go to sleep, and then you got to start it all over again. Bon dia, Michael. So the thing is, what do you do first when you have all these things competing for your time so that you don't miss out on your actual personal goals? I know we kind of think that we have all this time. And if this past year has taught us anything, or, just, losing loved ones, it is a constant reminder that we do not have a lot of time here. And so first we have to sit and have a conversation with ourselves as to what do we want the rest of these years to look like. So when I decided to move out of the country, I remember thinking, because there was so much death that was around me, various people had passed away. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I have 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, or 2 decades left on this earth. So if that's the case, I want to go out saying I had a good run and I had a good time. Hey there, Chuck. So with that being said, I had to really sit down and be like, okay, so how do I need to change life? And with Rachel, when you talk about fear, you don't have to make moves in absence of fear. Everything I do, or everything many people do, they're terrified. Every time I have to hit live on this broadcast, I'm terrified. The thing is, you just got to do it anyway. And everything that you start, you're not going to be good at it when you first start, in most cases. So for those of you who are stuck in being in this perfectionism thing, we talked about this before. There is no such thing as perfectionism in something you've never done. That's virtually impossible. So when you have this high expectation of making it perfect when you've never done it, it's a self-sabotage. It's like the smallest mistake or the smallest experience of discomfort will make you stop, or make you procrastinate, or make you do a whole bunch of other things that's not necessarily going to help you, all because your expectation is perfection. Your expectation, hey there, your expectation has to be execution. don't make your expectation perfection, because it's going to create some issues. So for my folks who suffer from perfection, if you're in the audience, I want to know, what is it that you're actually scared of? And here's the thing, sometimes when you get stripped of everything, your fear, you have a lot less to lose, so you jump out there more. So sometimes the fear can come from being comfortable, and you have to reevaluate, what are some things you can do in your life that are going to make you uncomfortable? And it's going to suck. I'm not even about to be here and tell you that it feels great, because it doesn't. When I do something new, it hurts. It's frightening. It doesn't feel good. I would want to stop, but I do it anyway. Like, even many of you saw the journey of me first moving to Portugal, and it was terrifying. I still am struggling with the language, but I can communicate a lot better than I could before. But I still was terrified during the process. And you keep going. Like, that's really the only option that you have. So let's kind of talk about this. Now, hey there, honey. And guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and put questions in the box. And at the end, I'll stay on here as long as you need me to answer questions. And just so we're clear, I am not the queen of telling somebody how to operate, especially and avoid procrastination and anything like that. What I'm hoping that we're having a discussion about is, how can you get better supported, so that when you feel like you don't want to do this anymore, whatever that is, that you'll have the support system to help you get through that. Because sometimes you're going to have to go through these roads, and you're going to have to go through them alone initially. Okay, but there's a ton of online communities or things you can join of people who have the same goals that you do, so that you can feel supported in this and not feel like you're doing this by yourself. Any big goal that you're going to want to achieve, it's not going to feel good going through the process initially, because we got this fight or flight that's naturally embedded in us. Like, we want to avoid pain. We want to avoid feeling uncomfortable, because that's what's important when our bodies feel that. But if you operate in that, you're not going to achieve the things that you were put here to do. And I haven't seen Marissa in my emails or on live, but I really want to get Marissa on here to tell her story. Sometimes you go through these obstacles, and your purpose is to share your story. And I've had people had to, tell me that. But your purpose is to share your story. And I know, because we have so many stimulus out here that kind of tote this perfect life, whether it be on social media or on TV or whatever. And so you look at someone's perfect life, which probably isn't perfect. Probably most of it is made up. And then you feel a certain kind of way measuring your current life to that. And I wish what we could make normal is people sharing how difficult and how hard it is, rewarding when you get to the other end, but how difficult and hard it is at the beginning, so that people, A, wouldn't feel entitled that it should just be easy and they just can't get it. Or people, when they are experiencing the struggle, it's normal and you can keep going forward. I feel like so many times it's going to hurt, but that can't stop you, because at the end of this is going to be beautiful. If I didn't make some real big girl decisions, I still would have had the same life that I've always had and just been frustrated. And now I can say I'm super happy, and I want to use this platform and this energy and this time to really connect people. Like, I want y'all to connect in the comments and get to know each other and network and see how you all can help each other, because you can't necessarily always do this with your friends that are in your circle, and you may need to meet somebody in another country or down the street or somewhere else who can help. So I'm hoping that that's what this is. So let's talk about taking some action. All right. So, thank you, Adventure. Oh, wait, Lady L. That was a long word. Thank you, honey. I appreciate you. And if you have any questions, please put them in the questions box. Put a Q beside it so I know that it's a question. So I wrote some notes. Give me a second. Let's see. Collaborate. Okay. Here's what I want my perfectionists to consider. Instead of focusing on a beautiful, perfect process, focus on celebrating the gradual process. So if you look at even some of the businesses that you respect and you love, when you look at what they were doing 10, 20 years ago, it did not look like what they are now. And we're talking about even your big brands. If you remember Apple was on the verge of bankruptcy, in the 80s? So many things and companies go through this gradual change, but they keep moving. And for individuals like ourselves, it's important to do that in our own personal world. So let's talk about some of the other questions that we have. And I'm looking. And guys, if you have any questions in the put a cue beside it and we'll do it in the chat box. So one of the other questions was not taking action because of responsibilities. And this is a big one. So in some cases, you may be married, have kids, supporting a wife, a husband, everything. And you're scared to make some moves because the fear is real. If you make something drastic, it's going to be hard to move things around. And usually, in my opinion, that comes around money. I mean, I know it did in my life. If I felt like I wouldn't make a certain move because I was worried about how it affected me financially, then my goal is to show you how you can make money outside of what you may currently be doing, so that at least that will make you feel more comfortable. So when I talk about, creating your content, creating a brand, doing those types of things, it's because I know ultimately planting those seeds for you will change your financial future if you commit to it. It's not hard. It is time consuming. But if you can commit to that, you can increase your individual worth, meaning it's not tied to a company. It's not tied to that type of thing. Is tied to what you produce. So when you have that opportunity, you're able to do the things and not operate from the fear of the job or losing the job and that type of thing. Because what we have to understand in this world that is being created is it is moving into an individualized economy. And the problem is, if you always expect a job to pay you your worth, they're probably not. And a friend of mine, we were having this discussion the other day about a couple of my mentors who may be about 10 to 15, maybe 20 years older than me, but have been in the industry for, decades, and they're great. But now, because they have so much experience, they've almost priced themselves out of the market if they need to find a new job. Because their salary may require like $200,000 or something like that, they could probably hire 4 to 5 people at a lower rate. And so it makes it more difficult. And so when I go through all this whole digital nomad stuff, I don't care if you don't live out the country. I mean, even if you want to do this in the country that you're in, that's fine. But it's important, if you build your personal brand, you have more leverage as to how your financial future can look because you put the effort in it. So if you are not making a move because there's financial obligations, I understand that. I would say I knew that if I wanted to focus more on my personal brand versus me working for my clients, I still have the digital marketing company, of course, and I still day trade, but I wanted to focus on a personal brand. And so when I looked, I was like, okay, me moving out the country, I could save expenses substantially. Now, granted, it was fearful. I was scared, all of that, but you still got to do it. So doing that created other opportunities. And this is the interesting thing about when you move, even though you're terrified, I feel like the universe just rewards that, and it makes sure that you're going to be on a good path. And it is frightening, but your intuition goes into overdrive. Certain people are attracted to your energy. And next thing you know, these opportunities just start popping up because your energy has shifted from a fear of lack. And I hate sounding like some I don't want to be on some foo-foo like the world and the universe type of thing. Like, that's not what I'm trying to make this about. I'm just like really telling you that it is, you start to meet these dynamic people and you're able to do things that you would have never considered. But if you stayed in this place of fear, it just would have been the same thing. So I want you to fear everything being the same more than you fear what could potentially happen. Because when we think about this, we always think about, what could potentially happen is like the worst thing ever. And I don't know if anyone in our group is a therapist or a psychologist, because if you are, like, come on the channel and let me know, because I know when I'm terrified about something, my instant default is to think the negative will happen. And most of the time it doesn't, but that's my default. And what I'm curious from a professional is to understand how to switch your default. And some of it comes from the way we were raised, any trauma we've experienced, all of that stuff, that may be our default. And I would love to hear some insight on how to change your default to something positive. Because my best friend, her default is always positive. And that's one of the reasons why I'm obsessed with her and I love her. And I admire that quality, that whatever happens, she defaults to, oh, it's going to be all right. Like, you must not have no faith. Like, that's what she would say to me all the time. And I'm like, oh, God. So it's like, I'm curious in regards to that. Like, how do you switch your default to positivity and all these great things that can happen and give that energy versus assuming that the negative can happen? Because a lot of people assuming the negative can happen, you just don't do it. I just walk in fear for some weird reason. But I don't want anyone who's ever seen or done anything I do to assume that I am not terrified with every single thing I've approached. When I did the Moving Broad Summit, terrified. When I hit live on these broadcasts every time, terrified. All the time, terrified. The only difference is I'll keep doing it. Because ultimately, I know what the overall goal is. And I know that there are certain things that I want to accomplish in a certain amount of time. And with that, you kind of got to go balls to the wall. Let's get into these comments a little bit. I'm not going to stay on here with you guys too long unless you want me to. Now, again, if you have any questions as it relates to your business, go ahead, download the Digital Nomad Toolkit, and you're going to get an email. If you don't, check your spam. Reply back to that email and let me know where you're stuck. Because many of you know I'm going live for these next couple days. We'll see how long. I have a number in mind, but if I don't do it, I don't want to tell y'all all out loud that I failed. So I'm going to be doing these for the next couple of days. I'll be here again tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. And we'll have these discussions that you may have about your business or mine. I'm not really good with mindset because I can't say mine is great. But if someone out there who is great with mindset wants to come on and who can help the audience, I'm definitely here for it. But ultimately, I'll be here live. We'll more so talk about business and online business because that is what I can help with. But you got to tell me where you're stuck. And then I have to go. Many of you guys know I'm in Portugal. I have to go back to the States at some point and see my family. And I heard they have cicadas in DC, so I'm terrified. But yeah, so I have to go back to the East Coast and see my friends and family during that time. So I have a little bit of time now, and I want to give that to you guys and just let me know what you need and how I can help. So let me go in these questions really quickly. Hey there, y'all. Thanks for coming. Guys, if you don't know Sandra, is it Sandra or Sandra? How do you go by Sandra or Sandra? How do I pronounce that in the best way possible? She is a voiceover and she's an amazing person, and you definitely got to get to know her. Bon dia. Miss Adventure awaits, Lady L. Thank you again, honey. I appreciate that. Hey there, Carlene. Okay, where are your questions? If someone seems... I agree. This comment right here, everybody need to see this. If someone's life seems perfect, that means they're probably not living or stretching themselves, or they're not even telling the truth. So sometimes on social media, guys, you can get really stuck looking at a life that's not actually real and comparing your life and getting depressed. And I don't want that. I want us to normalize the hustle and the grind and the hard work and the tears that are required for it. Hello from Texas. Hey there, Cassandra. Okay, if we don't have any questions, I'll roll out. Okay, hold on. Question. I've never even thought about online group that you mentioned. I will look on Facebook or Google later, but is there any that you recommend? Dang, I forgot what I said. To know what you're talking about, Serena. I'm sorry. I never even thought about online group you mentioned. Which one did I mention? Okay, so this is what I'm saying. If we're just talking about groups in general, that you may not have people to support you or your dreams, just go on Facebook or Google. What are the other, like meetup.com, whatever you're interested in, and then Google groups. And that's how you can find them online. And then you can find a group that meshes with you and network with them, and probably find some lifelong friends because you guys are into the same thing. I'm not sure if that was your question and if I answered that correctly, but follow up with that on me if you could. They tell you that you're overqualified. That is exactly right. Except they tell you you're overqualified. So that's what's happening. I'm like, good morning, honey. Good morning. Thank you for visiting. Help me. Hello. Thank you for your videos. I'm so happy, love. I appreciate that. Okay. Oh, so we got some business questions coming up. All right. Let's get into it. All right. Sorry, y'all. The software has me. I can't. Okay. Definitely believe. Okay, let's talk about this. Definitely feel like a part of me is holding me back, but I know that I don't want to still be in the UK and a retail job I hate, making someone else. Listen, I get it. Okay, so folks, if you don't want to go out the country, that's cool. If you do want to come out the country, cool. But what I do know about everybody here is that you have either a story, some type of skill, something you want to learn how to do. You have that in you right now. Like, understand that your individual story is your individual story, and you can help other people. There's even on YouTube, if you just wanted to do YouTube full time to make some extra money, you can. Now it may take a minute for you to get like enough to pay mortgages and stuff. But if you never plant that seed, it's not going to happen. But like I told you guys before in various training, if you want to learn a new software, if you want to learn a new skill and you don't know how to do it, don't feel like you have to be the expert. You could just show your process and create content in regards to your process. Let's say you are, 45 years old and learning how to swim. You're scared of the water. You've never known how to swim, and you document that process. There are a whole bunch of people that you can inspire to teach how to swim. I don't know how to swim. There's a whole bunch of people that you can inspire during that process. And again, I pull out the worst examples because I can't think off the fly like that. But I want you to understand how your personal trials, obstacles, things you've achieved help people. Like, again, you were currently on a channel that was basically pushed off of me moving to a country, and I did not know what I was doing. And when I learned something on accident, I shared it with you guys. That was it. That is how this whole brand was created. So I'm not telling you to do something that I wouldn't do myself, but I do want to encourage you to understand that you have the skills inside you. And here's a tip, because sometimes we're not that nice to ourselves. I encourage you to contact your friends, your closest friends that are honest with you, because I know some of y'all don't like honesty. Contact your friends who would be honest with you, and ask them, like, what do you think I do well? What do you think I excel at? What are some of my characteristics that you admire? Because sometimes you just don't know, and you need to feel good. And then once you talk to, let's say you have 5 to 10 friends, you'll start to hear the same thing. And then you can take that skill that maybe you didn't even know you had, or you didn't know that was what you were projecting out to the world. And you can take that and say, okay, so what can I do with that to either make additional life for myself or additional income for myself, or those type of things. So even when you look at the boom, unfortunately, of reality TV, it's people sharing their lives. Most of the time, not in the best light, but they're sharing their life. And I know that even in this audience, there are some people here that have some incredible stories and some incredible lives, because you have sent it to me and you are sitting on it and you are being quiet about it, when I know your testimony and your experience can help someone. And sometimes it feels like things aren't fair. You know what I mean? Like it feels like, you've done everything right. You've done everything you could, and it doesn't feel like things are working out in your benefit. And sometimes it's because you're not moving in the right direction. And if things aren't going the way that you want them to, and you're already fearful and not taking action, what do you have to lose taking a little bit of action, right? Like, what you got to lose? I'm saying, look at it that way. Okay, who's that? Don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, thanks for reminding me. I appreciate you. Okay, definitely believe that sentiment. I have met so many people since living outside of the US and meet people. Right. The vibe is so different. Again, folks, I'm not encouraging that everybody has to leave the country, but in the event that you do, the vibe is different. You meet so many just amazing people that just take the leap, because you got to take leaps in order to leave a whole country. You know what I mean? So it's just the energy is different. And when the energy is different, like for example, I probably worked until I fell asleep in DC. I didn't see my friends and family that much, which is also, full disclosure, which is also a battle that I have, that now I moved out the whole country. Like I didn't see them that much when I was working really hard. And now I don't see them that much because I don't live in the country. So when I do come in the country, I try to be super just in tune and making sure that time is all about getting that love from them, and opposed to doing anything else. That's why I said for the whole summer, I'm probably going to, take a break. Y'all might not see me. But I say all that to say that sometimes you commit to you're not really living the life, because you have so many responsibilities. And when you're living in a circumstance where your expenses are so high that all you can concentrate on is making money, and you forget to take care of you, it's not a good way to live. It's not a good way to live. And that doesn't necessarily have to be out of the country. Like you can totally move to some states that are cheaper than Europe. Trust and believe. So yeah. Let's see what Lady Laura. I can't move for another 8 years because of a pension spouse, and it's awful. Including, don't listen. Don't worry, honey. You don't listen, folks. Y'all don't have to move out the country. You could still, I get it. It's hard. Always think the worst will happen. Lady Loda, why can't you move abroad with your pension? Okay, so guys, again, if you have questions for me specifically, go ahead and put a cue beside it so I know that. Yes, cicadas, hon. This is a great talk. Fear moving on. Okay, let's talk, Chuck. Thanks. This is a great talk of fear and moving forward. Anyway, I'm a social worker and I understand. Yes. Sandra or Sandra is fine. Either way, I love it. Okay, cicadas are real. That is correct. I am not here for it. I'm really concerned when I have to go back. All right, let's talk. Here we got a question. All right, I get stuck with too many ideas and shiny object syndrome. Yes. I am sure so many people can identify what you're saying. I've been a victim of that a lot, but some of it is still experience. What I want you to do is, again, despite the fear, I still want you to take action, because even if you are chasing things, you're going to learn and get some experience from the things you're chasing that may not apply at this moment, but they're going to apply when you get to whatever you're supposed to get to in life. And the thing that I would say, of all the things, have a real conversation with yourself to say, can I commit to this? Like, am I going to commit to this to make it successful? Because a lot of people will ask me about drop shipping. They'll ask about an online course. They'll ask about workshops and that type of thing. All of them are wonderful avenues to make an additional income for yourself. All of them are going to require you to kind of commit and work at it. So you're going to have like a real conversation with yourself of which one of these, shiny objects would you enjoy doing? Because you have to enjoy doing it at obscene amount of hours in the beginning, full disclosure. And if you don't like it, if you don't like something, go ahead and stop it. Like just feel like that it's the universe telling you, okay, this is not where I should be. But try a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like try a whole bunch of things, get really creative, get really, become a nerd on a variety of different things so you can see what best fits with you so that you can make a decision. And based on your skill set of what you want. I hope that answered something. I'm sorry. Okay. I have a recruiting business I just kicked off. Congratulations, Cassandra. I understand it will be slow starting out, but anything else I can do far as marketing? Cassandra, can you tell me what type of recruitment you're doing? Are you doing this for nonprofit agencies? Are you doing it for medical companies? who are you doing it? Who are you doing the recruiting for? So the reason why this is important, and this is going to be a question no matter what your industry is, you have to be really clear who your audience is. And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but if you want to market online, you have to be so specific that all of the online agencies will know what your content is about. Okay. So if you're not specific in the world of digital marketing, it's going to be hard to get to your overall customers. So if you can tell me at the end of the day who your customer is, what industry, then I can help with that. So Cassandra, just go ahead and put that in the comments for me. All right, if you have any questions, put that. That's going to really help me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you too, honey. Watching your videos, moving has really helped me get over my. Oh, good. I'm so glad. That makes me happy. There is no such thing as perfect, but that is exactly how we asked. Tag on it. It did it again. Sorry, y'all. Hold fast with me on the software. I'm struggling. Okay, watching you. Okay, got it. All right, Stephanie. Let's talk. Cinnamon, can you write a book about this or start a church? You're hilarious. Ha! That's so funny. Let's start a church. No, I'm joking. Headed your way in September for business. When you say business, are you talking Lisbon or DC? Would be great to meet. Me? Meet me? Are you talking to me? Okay, sorry. Thanks, Cinnamon. I'm sorry, y'all. Put a question by it. I apologize. How did you learn digital marketing? Okay, good question. How did you learn digital marketing? So I talk about this in one of those videos, but I started with Google. Google, for those of you who don't know, if this is your first time meeting me, Google has free education. I know someone came in the other day and said some class wanted $8,000. No, Google has free education on every single tool that they have out there. So y'all know Google has Google Suite, Google G Suite. I would say learn that. They have Google Analytics certifications. They have Google Video Ad certification. They have Google Shopping Ad certification. They have the whole gamut that is free education, and you get your certification not from another company. You get your certification from Google. So don't get overwhelmed thinking you got to get certified in everything. Decide what you want to get certified in, and then just go hard on that. Go ahead and get certified so that you can put that on your resume and you can say that you know how to apply it. Now, when you get this certification, I'm going to tell you to concentrate on a particular industry. So let's say you get really good at Google video ads. Consider doing it for a specific industry. So like if for me, after I did that, I went to dentists. I went to companies that were small enough to not have their own marketing department. And I'm sorry if we got distracted a little bit, guys. We're still going to talk about fear. But I went to companies that I knew were small enough that didn't have a marketing department, but they were big enough to be able to pay the monthly fee that I wanted to charge. And so some of you may be struggling in your business because you were trying to get customers that can't afford you. So concentrate on industries, particularly when you're just starting out, on industries that can actually pay you. So I had gotten certified in a variety of different Google tools and services. So then I was able to specifically tell dentists why this could help bring more people to their business. I didn't go broad and go to a paint company, a plumber, a vet, and say, hey, I know, various Google tools. I went to specific industries. Once I felt like I had enough dentists, then I moved to accountants, then I moved to attorneys, then I moved to doctors. You know what I mean? So I hope that answered your question. But yes, I initially learned digital marketing, the basics, from Google. It is free. You do not have to pay for anyone's course. Google provides it to you. Just Google it. All right. Okay. I hope that was helpful. If you weren't able to do the thing that generates the bulk of your income from outside the US states, let me understand it. If you weren't able to do the thing that generates the bulk of your income from outside the US, would you still have left? Got the question. That is a very good question. Sandra, that's a good question. Would I have left? So if you guys been following the story from the very beginning, I left very emotional. Like I didn't I wasn't rational about this decision at all. Full disclosure, wasn't rational at all. I had some people pass away. I had traveled extensively prior to that. So I was just, still love my country, but I was just over it. Like, things were getting violent. I can't. Like, when I left, it was on some mental health. Like, I can't with this country right now. Now, what I will say, and this is why it's important for me to have these discussions with you now, me having a location independent life had been important to me since 2010 when I started rebuilding. So even though the whole moving out the country thing happened kind of randomly, me wanting a location independent life, because I thought I was going to stay in the States. I didn't think I was going to move out the country 10 years ago. If you would have told me that, I'd have been like, what? But having a location independent life was important. So what I had to put into play were various ways that I can work independently and I can work anywhere. And that is why I chose to learn digital marketing. So I'm saying this to you now so that you know to start planting the seeds of creating content. Because I didn't create content. I did create content to get my digital marketing clients. So I have a separate, YouTube and all that for my digital marketing clients. And that YouTube gave me money with them. Like, they searched certain things. I popped up. They called me. We worked together. So that's why I keep telling y'all the importance of creating content. I'm not pulling this out the air. It works. It works for me. It works for my clients. It works. So if you start planting those seeds now, this is really the reason why I'm here with you all, because I want you to just get started. Because this stuff doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't even happen next week. This, at the time of this publishing, you're seeing about a year's worth of work. Okay. And so I'm able to make money off of this channel, but it also bleeds into other business ventures that now I'm able to do. And just the collaborations I've been able to do just from doing this. So that is why I keep pushing you on this content thing. And yeah, so what I have left, honestly, probably because I still was making money online even then. I just was kind of over America at the time. And before anyone go in my comments about me not liking America, I still love my country. Calm down. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, if you got any business questions, because I charge for this. So we're going to do this free. Just give it to me. Tell me what you got. Let me cut you right now. I'm exhausted. Listen, I get it. Chuck D, get it. Oh, hey there, Samantha. I'm glad you caught me live as well. I really want what? Hey, y'all, don't come on here being weird. Sorry. Sorry. In the comments. I got to get someone. Anyone want to volunteer to be a moderator to handle comments when they get weird? Let me know. How did you learn to do what you did? We just answered that question. I'm so sorry. Y'all, this software. I apologize. Okay. I think I'm here. Okay. And guys, if you're just joining us, if you can put a Q if you have any questions in the chat so that I know it's a question versus just you're communicating with other people. Okay, Cinnamon, what type of digital marketing certification do you recommend? Hun, you can do whatever you want. So can I gain a skill at any affordable price? So I can gain a skill at an affordable price. Annie, the training is free. So you don't even have to worry about the training price if that's what you're referring to. If I'm not understanding your question correctly, just let me know again. Do whatever type of certification you want. I can't tell you, folks, I can't ever give you advice for you. You got to decide. Just look at what the options are that Google has and see which one you'll be interested in. But also when you're doing the certification, kind of think about how you apply that when you have to sell that later. Like if you want to work with businesses that are doing e-commerce, the most obvious forms of certification, maybe some Google Analytics, Google Shopping ad certification. Consider that, but I can't tell you what digital marketing certification to look into because I don't know what your interest is. Go see what your options are and then run the gamut. If you are more interested in video or Google Analytics, because Google Analytics is actually pretty dynamic and people don't really learn that the way they need to. Also consider Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is changing the game, and a lot of people don't know how they can use that and test various behavioral levels on their website. So yeah, it's a whole, listen, here's a great thing about Google, despite some of the other issues, is that Google's whole purpose is they dominate a lot. Okay. They'll give you the education necessary to use their products because they want you to use their products, and they'll give you that education for free. And so many companies are using G Suite. They may not be using it to the best of their ability. Even if you just want to get trained on how to use G Suite, you can go to businesses and help them further become efficient in their business because you're, specialize in that versus something else. So I hope that's helpful, but I can't, guys, I can't tell you what you should do with you. You just got to just go look and check it out. But as far as affordability, it's free. So you'll be fine there. Okay, let's see. Wheezy Jefferson, that's hilarious. People have come to me and approached me about writing and editing skills. I have degrees, but not in editing, and that holds me back. Any suggestions? Just get educated on editing. Start editing. If people are coming to you asking you to do it, do it. Like, there's no other big thing about that. Just do it, honey. Don't feel like you have to have any formal degrees. If you have a formal degree in writing, you have to edit to write. So it's not a huge stretch. It's not like someone's asking you to help them with writing and then run an ads campaign. Like, those, the skills are still together. You could do it. The suggestion is to do it. And if they're coming to you, they probably already see that you're good. I don't think you are being gentle with yourself and realizing you're good and thinking that you need a formal degree. There are a lot of things that people are great at and they don't have a formal degree. So my suggestion, do it. Okay, meeting me in Lisbon. I love your content. Oh, I appreciate that, James. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what my life has been in September. I'm not sure if they're gonna lock us back down, but I mean, I don't know, hon, but I appreciate your comment. Good start. Google Analytics is a good start. That's what I'm working on now, even learning Salesforce. Yes, Salesforce is a good thing to learn as well. Interesting. So the trip to Lisbon. Okay. Are we done on the questions? Because if we're done, I'm out of here, folks. I hope this was helpful. Okay. We've heard that when you leave the US, you still need to file taxes. Yep. I guess it's the question. When you leave the US, you still have to file taxes. In the state that you lived in, has that been the case for you coming from DC? I changed my state. My state isn't DC anymore. So yes, you are still responsible for taxes if that is your question. I haven't relinquished any citizenship or anything like that. So I'm responsible for taxes in the state in which I am registered. So yes. Learn so much on YouTube. Yes. I think we're good. Are we good, guys? Are we out of here? No more questions. Again, guys, if you haven't downloaded the Digital Nomad Toolkit, go ahead and download that. If you have specific questions for me that you don't want to be in the public of the chats, I understand that. Just send it to me and I will reply back. If you don't get the email, it's probably in your junk. Just go ahead and check your junk folder and respond back to that. Oh, you're so sweet, Annie. Thank you, honey. Just respond back to that so that I can get your question. I am going to try to go live this week, folks. So if you can't think of your question right now, just let me know. But the best way to communicate with me is through the email. My Instagram DMs look ridiculous and it gives me anxiety even going through those. So if you have a business question, if you have some random special question that I'm seeing in some of these comments, don't do that. Don't come to me with that. But if you have some question about business or some roadblocks or anything, I want to thank Rachel for today's question in regards to fear. I hope, do we feel better about that? Do we ultimately just do it? Like if we're talking about perfectionism, it doesn't exist. I don't want anyone who sees anything that I do to not assume or to assume that I'm not fearful. I am terrified all the time, scared. Okay. Only difference is I do it anyway. All right. So that is what. Sandra, stop. You're a mess. Okay, guys. I appreciate you all. We'll be back here tomorrow. Again, send me your questions so I know what content I'm creating tomorrow. I'm also going to send you an email probably in the next hour for those of you who are on my list, asking you where you're stuck so that we can create content for the next week if I do this for a week. And then because after that, guys, I'm going off the radar and be with my family. So if you have some questions and I can help you with that, like just talk to me and let me know. Oh, healthy living. Thank you. That's so sweet. Y'all is look tipping me and stuff. I don't even know how to act. I gotta go. Y'all making me I appreciate y'all a lot, but I'm all anxious and nervous now. Thank you guys. I appreciate you and appreciate your time. All right, babies. It'll be tomorrow. Let us chat and I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to send me your questions in email. I appreciate you all.